Welcome to the Online Success Journey Podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey Podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 87. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Mitch Brudy, a media consultant. His motto is fight today's battle. What about tomorrow when it comes? Hello Mitch.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I know the clan is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your online business? Tell us right up to the last job or business before you were online.
Yeah, so in high school I had leukemia, and that's where my motto in life came from: fight today's battles, worry about tomorrow when it comes. Is because that really teaches you're never guaranteed a tomorrow. You're never promised another day. So take the day for what it is and do what you can while you can. And that really pushed me to going to Drexel, where I got my degree in marketing. Studied marketing for 5 years there, worked at a few different places. But my favorite job that I had there was working with the Flyers. It's a hockey team here in Philadelphia, and working with a web design firm. And those two things really led me to kind of pursue marketing and pursue marketing and media consulting, which is what I do now. And so I do phrase designs, which is my online and consulting business, as well as communications director for a law firm here in Philadelphia.
Wow. What a background. Okay. And why do you do what you do?
For me, I think I love helping people in all aspects. So the consulting business really helps me help new businesses get out there and get seen. While in college, I ran a personal training business and with my partners, and that was one of the biggest things, is getting out there and getting seen in the world. And marketing, media, PR, branding, all these things are so important in sending the right message to people. And a lot of people struggle with that. So I like helping people get to that point and knowing how they can do it right.
What is the most dangerous belief an online entrepreneur can have?
The most dangerous what?
Belief an online entrepreneur can have.
I think the most dangerous belief is the customers will find you. If you don't put yourself out there, and if you don't go finding customers at first, your online business won't succeed. There's so much competition online that you can't rely on people coming to find you. You have to go out there and put yourself out there and get in front of people.
What is your best tips for a person who's starting out, or maybe somebody who has been online for a while, but they are still struggling? What is your best 3 tips can you give them?
I think the biggest tip I always tell everyone, and it's something that I think we struggle with a lot in business because you don't want to alienate any customers. But the biggest thing is having an opinion, having a voice. And it's one of the biggest things I did in the law firm and a lot of places that we've had is make your opinion known, make a stance. And yeah, you might make some people mad. Some people might not agree with you, whatever you want to say, but the people that do agree with you will listen. If you just regurgitate everything that everyone else is saying, there's no reason for someone to follow you or listen to what you're saying. So I think the number one thing, have an opinion, have a voice, and make that voice heard. Number 2, know your audience inside and out. Know what they want to hear, know what they want to see, and do that by testing. Test constantly. If you have an opinion, if you have a thought, test it and see. Don't commit wholeheartedly to something that you haven't proven yet. So I think the 3 things I would say is have an opinion, have a voice, and make it heard. Find your audience and make sure you understand your audience, and test everything before you commit too much to it.
Okay. Man aside, how do you know you are successful?
To me, I think success isn't about money. Success isn't about fame or recognition. Success is all about being happy with what you do, being able to support you and your family. And I think if you can do those things, if you're happy with what you're doing, if you get up every day and want to go to work, if you like who you're working with, if you feel you're making an impact, I think that's successful to me. I don't think you need to make millions of dollars to be successful. I don't think you need to be, the most famous person in the room to be successful. I think everyone can be successful in their own way, as long as you're happy with it.
Can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
I think anyone can be an entrepreneur if you're willing to put in the work. There's no easy road to being an entrepreneur. You can't get your product known, you get it seen without putting in the time and effort. So it really comes down to how bad you want it. And I think anyone can be it if they have the right product or service.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
One thing actually a lot of people don't know, and it's my stance on kind of my background and how I came through when I had leukemia and coming to college and all things like that, is a lot of people ask the question, or have asked the question of if you had the option to not have gone through leukemia or having gone through treatment for that, would you take it? And my answer is always, I wouldn't. I would always have rather gone through what I went through than having not gone through it. And I say that because it led me to where I am today. Had I not gone through those things, I wouldn't have the outlook that I have on life. I wouldn't live my life the way I do. I wouldn't have empathy the way I do for people, for wanting to help businesses and people succeed and getting their voice heard. Because when I went through leukemia, it's where I developed the motto of fighting today's battles. And you meet so many people, and so many people are so amazing. You find out who your friends are, who your true friends are. You find out who's there to support you. You find out who's not your true friends, the ones that just fall to the wayside. And you see how many good people are really out there in this world that will do anything to help you, do anything to get you healthy, to get you to where you want to be. Organizations like the Make-A-Wish Foundation that provide people who are going through life-threatening illnesses a relief, a way that they can be happy. And you really see that when you go through things like that. And if I hadn't gone through that, I might have a more maybe cynical outlook, an outlook that a lot of people see. You always hear that the world is full of bad people. But I choose to look at it. I think the world is full of great people. Maybe they just haven't realized it yet.
How old were you when you had leukemia?
13 through 18. I was diagnosed St. Patrick's Day when I was 13, and my last treatment was my senior year, right about the end of my senior year of high school. So through college, luckily, I only had to go once a month or once a year to get checked up and make sure everything was good to go.
Wow. Oh. I see you also involved in fitness. How did that come about?
That stemmed from treatment. So when I finished treatment, the doctors told me you have, within your first year of being done chemotherapy, you have a chance that there's a high likelihood of putting on 20% of your body weight. And while I was going through treatment, you can't exercise much because your body's healing all the time. You're sore, joints hurt, things like that. So I was heavier than I wanted to be. I was 250 pounds. And the thought of putting on an additional 50 pounds was terrifying. I didn't want to be 300 pounds going into my first year of college. That was a terrifying thought. So I really threw myself into fitness hard, lost 70 pounds. And that kind of developed, it stemmed, wanting to help people and wanting to help people reach their goals and see what they could do. I was a personal trainer through college. That's how I paid for my housing and books and all that stuff through school, was through personal training. And that led me to helping businesses, like helping people succeed and reach their goals, whether it be in business, whether it be personal, getting on TV, speaking well on TV or speeches, public speaking, all these things. But I realized that I could do it. I did it. I lost 70 pounds and I was happy with myself, and I wanted the other people to achieve that same happiness, achieve those same goals. So if they wanted to get there, I was the one who was going to help them.
Wow. What advice would you give to someone who's out there listening and thinking, I don't know if I can do it, and they're still like not too sure? What advice can you give to them?
That's the hardest part, is starting. And anything you want to do, whether it's fitness, business, public speaking, starting a YouTube channel, starting a podcast, the hardest part is always starting. And once you start and realize that it's not as hard as it looks, it's not as scary as it looks, that you can do it, it becomes easier and easier every time you go out there and do it. So get out there, take the first steps to running, walk half of it and run a minute every 5 minutes. But get out there and do it. Take the steps to get out there and do it.
Wow. Okay. What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
I think just that I found something I enjoy doing. I think that's the biggest thing to my success, and finding people that were like-minded, that wanted to be successful, that were willing to help, that I wanted to help. They taught me a lot about the business side of things. I taught them about the marketing side of things. And, I found what I love doing. And I think once you find what you love doing, take the steps and make it something that you can continue to do.
Wow. Did you have mentors in the business and or other partners you have?
Yeah, absolutely. A very good friend of mine, John Sokol, was a Wharton MBA, and I started the fitness company with him. So he taught me so much about business and just how to run a startup from ground to finish. Another friend, Mike Friedman, now is a business consultant at Deloitte, and my friend, who was also a Wharton MBA, and my friend Zachary Herzl, who is a PA, a physician's assistant in Florida. And the three of those guys together all taught me different things about business and about leading and how to be a great leader. Zach was in the military for 9 years. He was a personal trainer for 9 years. Mike and John both went to Wharton and got MBAs. So the three of those guys all taught me different aspects about how to be a great leader, how to run a business, how to track things effectively and test effectively. And I wouldn't be where I am now without those guys and their guidance and support.
What is the most valuable thing you have learned from your mentors?
Let's see. Work ethic is number one. There were so many times that I would wake up or get a call at 2 a.m. or be working at midnight, 1 o'clock still, and those guys would be outworking me. They were still up and still working, getting ready for pitches or getting ready to meet with investors. The work ethic is huge. How to properly test things. Before I started learning from those guys and working with those guys, I didn't know how to best A/B test things and how detailed you can test and do things like that, and run an ad with the difference of a period, whether it has a period or doesn't have a period, and to test those things. And the philosophies that I run my business on and that I tell people, a lot of it stems from the things that I've learned from those guys.
What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
That I've ever given away? That's tough. Often I think the most valuable thing you can give someone is knowledge. I take that to the old adage of you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime. And I think I love meeting with people, whether it's on a consulting basis or just sit down for coffee and talk to them and see what they need. And teaching someone how to do something, to me, is always the most gratifying thing. And I think it helps them the most, because you can run a campaign for somebody on social media or digital or anything like that. But if you teach them how to effectively run a campaign, they'll be able to do it forever. It's something they'll never forget.
Wow. Okay. Let's talk about your phrase design. Tell us more about it.
So Phrase Designs is it's a company I started in college with my roommate. Originally started as a website and SEO company. But once I got really busy with WeTrain and busy in college, we kind of put it on hold. And once we graduated, I took it over fully and kind of pivoted to being marketing and media. And now what we do is marketing consulting. We'll run digital campaigns, things like that, as well as if you want traditional marketing campaigns, we'll help you design the campaigns, figure out where to place them, find out who your audience is. We do hourly consulting, anything like that. So if you just want to learn about marketing or have some ideas that you need to run by somebody, we do that. And we do media consulting. And media consulting is public speaking, is helping you prepare for an interview on, if you're going to be on the radio or on TV, how to prepare for that interview. Even if you're going to be a job interview, how to prepare for that job interview and how to speak about the things and not get nervous, not get shaky when you're up there. The keys in being a good public speaker, we try to help people get there.
Wow. What do you normally cover? Do you take on anyone who's just starting fresh or someone who's in the middle? What do you cover?
I love working with startups. They're my favorite thing to work with. And I think it's because you can see the difference. When you work with larger companies, they're established. They already have a brand in place and you're just kind of working with what they give you. Whereas startups, you can have a huge impact, whether it be helping them find their voice, helping them develop a brand. You can watch people who have never spoken in public before and never had an interview on TV before. My favorite memory of it is working with a client at the law firm. And we had a series of interviews in one day. We had about 5 news and radio interviews in one day. And from the first interview that he did, he had he was lost a little bit. And by the end of the day, the 5th interview, it was it was so much better, such a visible improvement. And to me, that was the best memory because you can watch someone improve right in front of your eyes.
Wow. Okay. Right. So where do we find this phrase design? Do you have like packages for like startups, the middle, the gold? What is your packages? How do you?
So I like to do things on a case by case basis. I don't like to put out packages beforehand because no one needs the same thing, especially when it comes to startups. So if I'm just going to run a digital campaign for you for a week or an ongoing basis, or if we're just going to do a branding consulting meeting, just talk about your brand and how to effectively find your voice and things like that, I don't think there is a great package. And if there was, I'd have 1 million packages on my website for each different thing. So I like to sit down and really find out, what does your business need? And from there, what is your budget? And we can develop a relationship based on that. I think the most important thing is developing a relationship with people, not having a customer, having a client. I like to have partners.
When you say finding your voice, nowadays we have lots of media. You have Instagram, you have Snapchat, you have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have YouTube. I can hardly cope. So how does really like a newbie really try to find a voice without getting lost in all these social media out there? Oh no,
it's so tough because everyone wants to be on as visible as possible. So you want to be on Facebook, you want to be on Twitter, you want to be on Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Medium, all these different platforms. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that I always focus on is I'd rather do one thing well than 5 things okay. So really finding your voice is, number one, what does your brand want to say? What does your brand have to offer? And how do you offer it? Are you snarky with your comments? Are you witty? Are you pretty straightforward and just kind of report what's out there? Or, how do you want to promote your message? And what do you want your brand to sound like? And then it goes back to really knowing your audience. Who is your audience and where can you find them? If you're targeting, 18 to 24-year-olds, you want to be on Snapchat. If you're targeting 40-year-old, 50-year-old people, you probably want to be on Facebook. If you have a really visual brand, maybe Instagram or YouTube. So it really depends on your brand and what you're looking to accomplish and where your audience is. But I would never, at least in the beginning, I would never want to be on more than 2 platforms because you just don't know yet. It's too much to manage at first. And once you really figure it out, get a good strategy going that's really working, then you can start adding more and more social medias.
Wow. Okay. So where do we find you to get in contact with you?
So you can find us phrasedesigns.com or phrasedesign.com, no S. Phrasedesign.com, that's where our podcasts are. It's where videos are. You could contact us on there, talk about consulting stuff. You can find us on Facebook, phrasedesign.com. I'm on Facebook at Mitch Brudy and on Instagram as well at Mitch Brudell.
Okay. When I sign up to work in your company, do I work direct with you or with your partner, or do you have a group of staff that we have to work with?
So you'll work directly with me. I handle everything with clients. I don't take on more than maybe 5 or 6 clients at a time because we're a small team and I want to devote our time to you. I don't want you to feel like you're one in a million sitting at our company and that we're not focusing on you. I have a few people who work with me, and I work with some freelancers as well. So it's things like graphic design, if it's stuff that my team can't handle, I have a team of people that I work with, freelancers and things like that are very, very good at what they do.
Wow. Okay. So, Clan, there will be more from Mitch in a moment. If you are finding Mitch's journey interesting and you are ready to hear more, come and listen to the full version of the interview at onlinesuccessjourney.com. If you are on Online Success Journey already, click on part 2 of Mitch's journey and you'll get more tips to help you with your own business. And don't forget, you can access all the other Online Success Journey interview podcasts on the site as well. That's a wrap, Clan. Remember, success is a journey, patience and Mitch.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.